What if tomorrow everything changed? A competitor enters your market, new regulations drop overnight, demand for your product spikes or crashes. Would your business survive? Would you know what to do next? These kinds of shifts can make or break a company, but founders who use scenario analysis don't panic, they plan. In this video, I'll show you how to use scenario analysis inside a financial model to predict outcomes, prepare for risks, and make smarter decisions before the chaos hits. If you're a founder and you're not doing this yet, you should be. Let's talk about the superpower that gives founders a serious edge: scenario analysis. Most traditional forecasts are based on just one set of assumptions, one outcome, one version of the future. But let's be real, businesses don't work like that. Markets shift, costs fluctuate, demand spikes or crashes overnight. One single projection won't cut it. And that's where scenario analysis inside a solid financial model changes the game. Instead of guessing on what might happen, you can simulate multiple futures, and you can see how each one affects your revenue, your expenses, cash flow, and more. Because when your model is detailed and well built, all the data is connected. Every change you make ripples across the entire business, and this gives you a clearer and more complete view of what's actually possible and what's at risk. And here's how most founders set it up. Best case, a more aggressive scenario where you outperform your expectations, and worst case, a conservative view where things go sideways. By testing these scenarios, you can plan ahead and not just react. It's one of the most powerful tools in your strategic toolkit. Let's say you're forecasting cash flow. In a base case, you stay steady. In a best case, sales explode. In the worst case, you hit a downturn. And with scenario analysis, you can plan for all three before any of them actually happen. You'll spot potential risks before they hit, you'll uncover hidden opportunities, and you'll be able to make faster and more confident decisions backed by data. Let's go over more benefits of scenario analysis. Quick pause. If this video is helping you level up your thinking, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm giving away everything that I've learned over 12 years as a CFO to help founders like you build smarter, stronger businesses, and I don't want you to miss a single insight. Let's start with the first major benefit of scenario analysis. It helps you understand future possibilities. Most forecasts rely on a single data point, one projected path based off of historical performance, but businesses don't happen in a straight line, and relying on one outcome is risky. Here's an example. Let's say you're projecting a 50% increase in sales next year because you saw strong growth this year. That might seem reasonable, maybe even accurate, but it misses something critical. What happens to your cost of sales when you scale? What about hiring, infrastructure, fulfillment? Growth impacts everything. And if your forecast doesn't account for those moving parts, it's not showing you the full picture. And that's where scenario analysis steps in. With the right financial model, you can build multiple versions of the future where things go better than expected, worse than expected, or land somewhere in between. Every lever in your business is connected. So when you change one thing, like growth rate, pricing, or churn, you immediately see the ripple effects across your entire model. This means you can build your base model with confidence, stress test your model under the worst possible conditions, push the limits and explore best case opportunities. When you operate this way, you're not just making smarter decisions, you're preparing your business to stay steady in a storm and move fast when it's time to grow. This is how resilient startups are built, not by guessing the future, but by planning for all of the ways that it might unfold. Now let's talk about the second big advantage of scenario analysis: identifying risks and opportunities. When you rely only on a single forecast, you're flying blind to a lot of what could happen. But when you model multiple scenarios, you start to see things that most founders miss. Risks that could blindside you and opportunities that you didn't even know existed. Think about it. What if a new regulation suddenly increased your costs in a single state? With scenario analysis, you can model the ripple effect if that same policy were rolled out nationwide, and you can plan ahead. Or imagine a competitor starts targeting one of your top regions. Scenario analysis helps you simulate how that shift would impact your market share, then map out how to defend your position before they ever show up in your backyard. And it's not just about protecting the downside. Scenario modeling lets you pressure test the upside as well. Let's say you're considering raising prices. Most founders assume that higher prices mean fewer conversions, but is that actually true for your business? With scenario analysis, you can pinpoint the exact conversion breakpoint, the moment where a price increase starts to hurt more than help. And if conversions barely dip, that price bump could drive serious revenue growth. Scenario analysis replaces assumptions with clarity. It shows you what's really possible, and it gives you the tools to prepare for it. The third benefit is making smart, data-driven decisions. This is where your financial model really starts to shine. When you plug your actual accounting data into different scenarios, you stop guessing and you start making strategic moves with clarity. Instead of asking, what should we do? You're asking, what does the data tell us? Let's say you're thinking about buying new equipment or testing a promising new technology. With scenario analysis, you you can project best case and worst case returns before you spend a dollar. That way, you're not just hoping for a good outcome, you're planning for one. Or maybe you're eyeing a bold move that carries a lot of risk. Run the numbers and you can tweak the variables and test different assumptions. You'll quickly spot ways to reduce risk and make the move more sustainable, or decide that it's not worth the leap. And when it comes to raising capital, scenario analysis is a game changer. You can map out exactly what happens if you raise VC money, take on debt, issue a convertible note, whatever you're considering. You'll see how each option affects your growth rate, your cash runway, and your dilution. This is the kind of insight that separates reactive founders from strategic operators. With scenario analysis, you can move faster, smarter, and with way more confidence. And finally, the fourth benefit, better communication and stronger collaboration. This is one of the most underrated superpowers of scenario analysis. It gets everyone on the same page. Instead of debates fueled by opinions or gut feelings, your team starts making decisions based off of shared data. Everyone is working from the same playbook, seeing the same financial picture and contributing to the same outcomes. Meetings that used to spiral into back and forth arguments turn into productive working sessions. Sales, marketing, product, they're all speaking the same language because the financial model becomes the common ground. Scenario analysis also empowers your team. Anyone can create or propose their own scenarios, which means more buy-in, more insight, and fewer surprises down the line. It gives every stakeholder a chance to flag concerns, stress test assumptions, and weigh in before decisions are locked in. And when it comes to external communication, that's where it really clicks. Founders who use scenario analysis can walk investors and advisors through every major decision, backed by clear data and contingency plans. You can show what you're planning, what could go wrong, and how you're preparing to handle it. And that level of transparency builds trust. And sometimes it even services ideas you hadn't thought of. Scenario analysis doesn't just sharpen your decision making, it brings your whole company into alignment. And when everyone's rowing in the same direction, it's a lot easier to reach your goals. Scenario analysis isn't just a feature of a financial model, it's one of its biggest superpowers. It helps you prepare for the unexpected, make smarter decisions with real data, and lead your company with clarity and confidence. But let's be honest, if your financial model lives inside of a spreadsheet, it's only going to take you so far. Building multiple scenarios usually means duplicating entire models, juggling messy file versions, and trying to compare data across a dozen tabs. It gets chaotic fast, and those models go stale before you know it. If spreadsheets are your only option right now, here are two best practices to keep your scenarios in check. First, adopt a consistent naming convention. You don't want to spend hours building a scenario just to lose track of where you saved it. Second, lock your base case. Treat it like the source of truth. Every new scenario should start from that foundation so that you don't risk breaking your model or comparing apples to oranges. Now that you've seen what scenario analysis can do, you've got one of the most powerful forecasting tools at your fingertips. If you're ready to take control of your company's future, start here. And if this was helpful, don't stop now. Click on this video and watch why founders freeze during investor meetings. I'll break down what trips most founders up and how you can walk into your next pitch with confidence. I'll see you there.